The Toronto Maple Leafs have traded reigning KHL Defenseman of the Year Mikko Lehtonen after just 9 games in the NHL. Why on earth did the Leafs do this? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the Anthony Bruno Show. After a little bit of a hiatus, I am finally back on YouTube. I've been posting a lot of content on TikTok. You can go follow me on there as we try to hit 20,000 followers. But now I'm coming back to YouTube and I am bringing you guys a ton of NHL news, opinions, and fantasy hockey content. So if you like the sound of that, I would really appreciate it if, first of all, you smash that like button, and then of course, if you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you know exactly when I'm posting some new hockey content. So right now, let's get into the video. The Toronto Maple Leafs have traded 27-year-old defenseman Mikko Lehtonen straight up to the Columbus Blue Jackets for 24-year-old goaltender Veini Vehvilainen. And honestly, I'm pretty surprised by this move from the Leafs, especially since Lehtonen only played 9 games in the NHL and had 3 assists in those 9 games. But when you actually think about it, it makes a lot of sense that they made this move. And it's because Toronto has a lot of depth on the blue line. And I know that sounds really crazy when you think about it, but if you've been following this team for as long as I've been following them, it's been a very long time since they have been this good defensively. There is so much depth on the blue line right now. And in the case of Mikko Lehtonen, he just wasn't able to crack this top 6. So when you think about the Leafs defense core, you have Morgan Rielly and TJ Brodie solidified on the top pair. Justin Holl and Jake Muzzin have been so good on that second pair. And then Travis Dermott and Zach Bogosian have been doing a really nice job on the third pair. So Mikko Lehtonen, you know, he got a few opportunities earlier in the season to show what he can do. And honestly, I liked what I saw out of him. But when it comes to head coach Sheldon Keefe, we all know how he thinks about Travis Dermott, a guy that he won the AHL championship with, you know, when you look at the Toronto Marlies. So I could see why he favored him over Lehtonen on that bottom pair. And then Zach Bogosian, who comes over from the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning on a 1-year deal. So I think Keefe got to the point where he realized that that third pair was pretty solidified and there just wasn't room for Mikko Lehtonen. And it's crazy to say that because this guy is the reigning KHL Defenseman of the Year, led all KHL D-men in scoring last season. And like I said, he's a really good player, but there just wasn't room for him on this Leafs defense core. And here's what head coach Sheldon Keefe said about Mikko Lehtonen on March 11th in terms of why he wasn't getting into the lineup.
Well, I think, you know, we've reached a different phase of the season here. I think, you know, we gave lots of opportunity to different people early in the season, Mikko being one, at times when maybe we really didn't have a reason to change the lineup other than to give, you know, more opportunity for Mikko and others. I think obviously we're at a point here now where, you know, the season is definitely got lots of momentum. We're approaching or right at the halfway point, and you know, you gotta give yourself the best opportunity to win each day. So, you know, that's all part of it for us here now, and you know, everybody really is just gonna have to kind of wait for their next opportunity, continue to put in the proper work to do so. In Mikko's case specifically, we have no doubts or questions about the work that he puts in. He's extremely committed, extremely focused, works very hard. So we're happy with all of those kind of things. You know, we just for the last little while just haven't seen a reason to make a change on defense.
So as you heard from Sheldon Keefe, he really likes where this team is at right now. I mean, we're at the halfway point of the season, and the Leafs are one of the best teams in the NHL. They have the 5th best record in terms of points percentage. They're 6th in goals against per game, 7th in shots against per game. They have the 2nd ranked power play. So he just didn't want to force Mikko Lehtonen back into this lineup. And honestly, I don't blame him because, as I mentioned, when you look at the 6 defensemen who are being rolled out there on a nightly basis for the Leafs, there's really no one that you can take out of the lineup right now because, as I mentioned, all 3 pairs are pretty solidified. And we hadn't seen Mikko Lehtonen in a game since February 24th. So you could see that Sheldon Keefe was getting very, very comfortable with the 6 main guys that he has on the blue line. And the Leafs still have Rasmus Sandin, who's recovering from a fractured foot, who's their 7th defenseman at the moment. And that's a pretty good 7th defenseman to have, because as we know, Rasmus Sandin, former first-round pick, was incredible at the World Juniors for Team Sweden. We all know that he has the ability to be a really, really good NHL defenseman, but he wasn't even getting a chance at the beginning of the season because of the depth on this blue line. So it makes a lot of sense why the Leafs decided to move on from Lehtonen, and I'm sure he wasn't happy about this because he comes over from the KHL where he was essentially the best defenseman in the league. He signs a 1-year, $925,000 contract, trying to prove himself in the National Hockey League. And I'm sure he saw the Leafs as a great situation because historically, like I mentioned, this team has not been good defensively, and he probably thought he was going to get, a good amount of ice time. He was going to be able to contribute and make a solid impact, but it just didn't work out. And honestly, I still think Mikko Lehtonen is a pretty good player, but the way that the Leafs are constructed right now, it just didn't make sense to have him hanging around like that, especially when you have Rasmus Sandin, who's ready to make an impact as well. So the Leafs figured, you know what? This situation isn't working out. Let's flip him for a goaltender. And we all know the situation with the Leafs goaltending, right? Freddie Andersen is in the final year of a 5-year contract. So it remains to be seen if he's going to be back. And then, of course, they have Jack Campbell in the mix. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Leafs do moving forward with the goaltending situation. And here's a tweet from NHL reporter Chris Johnston, who said Columbus was among the NHL teams that pursued Mikko Lehtonen when he was a free agent last year. This will be a welcome opportunity after things didn't go as well as he'd hoped in Toronto. Lehtonen was obviously a hot commodity when he was in the KHL. He was the best defenseman in the league, so it's great to see that he's going to one of those teams that was actually pursuing him in the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I'm sure they are going to give him an opportunity to flourish there, where obviously he wasn't getting that in Toronto. And the Blue Jackets have been struggling this season, okay? After beating the Leafs in the qualifying round last year, they now sit 7 points out of a playoff spot in the Central Division. They're 25th in the NHL in goals against per game. We all know the Blue Jackets as being a tight, really good defensive team, but they're 25th in the league in goals against per game, and that is a massive change from last season when they were 3rd in goals against per game. So they're obviously not doing well in that area, and their goaltending is really taking a hit as well. The Blue Jackets had the 4th best team save percentage last season, and they have now dropped down to 24th in the NHL in team save percentage. So things aren't going well when it comes to keeping the puck out of their own net. So obviously the addition of Mikko Lehtonen should help with that. And also, the Columbus Blue Jackets are not very good on the power play, okay? They have the 25th ranked power play in the league. They were 27th on the power play last year. And probably the best skill of Mikko Lehtonen is his offensive ability as a defenseman. So I'm sure he's also going to help the Blue Jackets on the power play as well. Whether he gets a shot on the top unit, which is kind of doubtful at this point considering they have Zach Werenski, but I'm sure he's going to get a ton of time on that second power play unit because he's probably a better fit there than Seth Jones is right now. So I'm sure Mikko Lehtonen is going to get an opportunity to show that he can flourish in Columbus. As for the Leafs, they get 24-year-old goaltender Veini Vehvilainen. So he was originally drafted in the 6th round, 173rd overall by Columbus in 2018. So as a rookie in the American Hockey League with the Cleveland Monsters, he posted a 10-18-4 record with a .901 save percentage and a 2.76 goals against average. So those numbers are nothing to write home about. His debut in North America wasn't very good, but when you look back at his career in the Finnish Elite League, this guy was an absolute beast. He won Best Goaltender in the league 2 years in a row in 2018 and 2019, so he showed that he could be one of the best goalies in the Finnish Elite League. He obviously still needs to prove it in North America and especially in the National Hockey League, but it gives the Leafs another option in net. Like I talked about, Freddie Andersen's in the final year of his contract. The Leafs have Jack Campbell for one more season, so their goaltending moving forward is yet to be decided. And to add another goaltender who looks like he's pretty good and can challenge any of these guys for a job on this team is a good move for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'm not saying that Veini Vehvilainen is going to be one of the Leafs' top 2 goaltenders next season, but at least you bring in another talented guy who has the ability to take one of those jobs. So all in all, it looks like a pretty solid trade for both teams. The Columbus Blue Jackets are solidified in net with Elvis Merzlikins and Jonas Korpisalo, even though those two haven't been very good this season, but it looks like those are their 2 guys moving forward, while the Toronto Maple Leafs obviously dealt from a position of strength. They saw that they had a ton of depth on the blue line and decided to add another talented goaltender to the mix that they already have. So that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think about this trade. Did the Leafs win? Or did the Jackets get the upper hand on them with this deal? I would love for you to give me your thoughts. And as always, I would really appreciate it if you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And then of course, please ring that notification bell so you know exactly when I am posting some more content right here on The Anthony Bruno Show. So thanks again, and I will see you guys in the next video.